We raise the roof all day, every day.
All right, to say a very big, beautiful morning to you out there, and thank you for joining us on another edition on the program, the newspaper review, coming to you live from the studios of Yesma Radio, the First Media Academy Radio. Today, the 24th day in the month of July 2020. I welcome you on behalf of the Group Managing Director, Management and Staff of Yesma Radio, transmitting live from Yemi Shonde Media House, Yemi Shonde Crescent Felele, right here in the city of Ibadan. Welcome, and let's get down to the business of the morning. I have about three papers with me: the Punch newspaper, the Nation, and the Vanguard. I'll take up with the front pages, what the stories are saying from the inside pages and the front pages of all those papers. The major headline here says, NDDC controversial probe, more drama as MD faints at hearing. Reps. You can get that from the pages of the Punch newspaper for this morning, and still checking out other stories making the rounds from the Punch newspaper. PDP primary, Ondo deputy governor not a threat, says Jegede. Man in court for stealing policeman's motorcycle. You can get that from the entire pages. Nigeria's rating suffers blow from COVID in viral video unsettles AKT PDP. And man fined 215,000 naira commits suicide in Ogun. Buhari mourns as friend, political associate Issa Funtua dies. These are the stories making the round from the pages of the Punch newspaper, and the Nation newspaper has the story this morning. NDDC IMC acting MD slumps before rep. You can get that from the Nation newspaper. NDD spent 4.2 billion naira in one day. That's credited to Senator Akpabio telling reps yesterday. Akeredolu wins Ondo APC Guba primary. You can get the story as well from the pages of the Nation newspaper. CBN boosts economy with 3.3 trillion naira credit. It's there as well. Nigeria records 562 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total now to 37,225. EFCC 12 EFCC officials get suspension letters. You can get that as well from the Nation newspaper. Amotekun will use supernatural power to combat insecurity. We'll look forward to that. Farmers seek probe of 144 billion naira agric loan. The Nation newspaper this morning has the full details of the stories, and quickly let me see what the Vanguard has got this morning. And quickly from the Vanguard newspaper, Senator reps greatest beneficiaries of NDDC contract. That's credited to Akpabio. And NDDC staff spent 1.32 billion naira on COVID-19 relief fund. That's credited to Ponde. You can get the story from the Vanguard newspaper for today. And Malam Issa Funtua is dead, just as every other paper has that story this morning. Drama as Fayoshe-led Ekiti PDP camp takes secret oath. All this and much more is what we have for you on the program this morning on the newspaper review, coming to you from the pages of the various newspapers I have with me this morning. Let's get down to the business of the morning as I kick off with the various stories. All right, kicking up my first story from the pages of the Nation newspaper with a big bold headline: NDDC spent 4.2 billion naira in one day. Akpabio tells reps. With the rider, minister, cash paid out in tranches of 49 million naira. Lawmakers are beneficiaries of agencies' contract. Contract splitting is rampant in the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Niger Delta Affairs Minister Godswill Akpabio said on Monday. According to him, the management of the agency indulged in splitting contracts to outwit the minister and evade approval. Speaking before the House of Representatives Committee on Niger Delta in Abuja, the minister alleged that the agency spent over 4.2 billion naira in a day in tranches of 49 million naira. The committee is probing how 40 billion naira was spent by the Interim Management Committee, IMC. Akpabio was invited by the acting managing director of the NDDC, Professor Kemebradi Kumo Ponde. Ponde fainted during the proceedings and had to be revived and taken to the hospital. The minister also told the panel why Ms. Joy Nune was sacked as the agency's managing director. Ms. Nune, Akpabio said, was sacked following a letter from the late Chief of Staff to the President, Malam Abba Kyari, that she did not possess the requisite qualification to occupy a public office. On the allegation that the agency had been awarding contracts without going through the procurement process and signing of necessary documents, the minister said only 3 contracts had been awarded since his assumption of office. The minister hinted that in all the contracting processes, both the technical and financial bidding process were conducted before they were awarded. Akpabio, however, claimed that NDDC managers have been splitting contracts to evade his signature, saying he has no hands in the contract payment by the agency, as government regulation does not allow ministers to pay for parastatal contracts. NDDC spent 4.2 billion naira in one day. Akpabio tells Rep. You can get full detail of that story from the Nation newspaper this morning. I'm going straight to Akure, Ondo State, where the APC primary took place yesterday. Akeredolu wins Ondo APC Guba primary. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu SAN has won the governorship primary of the All Progressive Congress APC with a wide margin. He polled 2,458 votes to defeat 8 other aspirants that participated in the primary. Olushola Oke SAN came in a distant second with 262 votes, followed by Isaac Kekemeke, who garnered 19 votes. The governor won in all the 18 local governments in the state. Olaide Adelami and Nathaniel Adodutelegon polled 4 votes each, while Mrs. Jumoke Anifowoshi scored 2 votes. Ambassador Olushola Iji polled 9 votes. Jimmy Odimayo, Ifeoluwa Oyedele and Shegun Abraham stood down for Akeredolu on Sunday. You can get full details from the Nation newspaper with the headline: Akeredolu wins Ondo APC Guba primary. The Punch, the Nation newspaper, and every other daily has that story this morning. You can go there and check it out. And going straight to Ekiti State, oath taken in viral video unsettles Ekiti PDP. That's on the pages of the Punch newspaper. The People's Democratic Party in Ekiti State was on Monday unsettled by a viral video which showed some members loyal to former Governor Ayodele Fayose purportedly swearing to an oath. In the 5-minute video during a meeting of ward leaders and executives in the Ijero Council area, the attendees took turns to make a vow to be loyal to Fayose and promised not to betray him. Leaders at the meeting included former state PDP chairman Chief Bola Oluojo, former House of Assembly member Akinleye Kundayo, and Mike Adeosun. A source in the PDP expressed the belief that the move was taken to prevent some of the leaders and ward executives from shifting allegiance from Fayoshe to Senator Biodun Olujimi. The PDP in Ekiti State has been polarized between the groups loyal to Fayoshe and Olujimi in the battle for the soul of the party. But the former PDP state chairman Oluojo, it was not oath-taking, but affirmation of loyalty to our leader, Fayoshe. There was nothing secret. It was an open meeting. It was not oath-taking because in the course of activities, there was no Bible, Quran, iron, blood, or any other object to swear with. Oath-taking in viral video unsettles Ekiti PDP. You can check full details from the Punch newspaper this morning. It is out there for you to go check it out. And still staying around Ondo and Ekiti, and this is coming in from Ondo. PDP primary, Ondo deputy governor not a threat, says Jegede. Barely 48 hours to the Ondo State People's Democratic Party governorship primary, one of the party's aspirants, Eitayo Jegede, has expressed confidence that he will emerge victorious. Jegede said this in Akure on Monday. The former Ondo State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice said he was not threatened by the presence of the State Deputy Governor, Agbola Ajayi, who recently defected to the PDP from the All Progressive Congress in the race for the PDP ticket. Jegede said, and I quote, "I contested against his boss, Rotimi Akeredolu, in 2016, and I came second. If Akeredolu was not a threat to me in 2016, his deputy cannot be a threat to me or my ambition in 2020. The governorship aspirant, who noted that his credentials were intimidating and good enough to speak for him, declared that the PDP will win the governorship election come October 10, 2020. PDP primary, Ondo deputy governor not a threat. That's credited to Jegede. You can find it on the pages of the Nation of the Punch newspaper for this morning. And quickly from the Nation newspaper, Funtua dies after driving himself to hospital. And the writer there says his death will create a void around Buhari. That's credited to the presidency. A former president of the Newspapers Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN, Malam Ismaila Issa Funtua, died last night shortly after driving himself to a hospital. He was 78. Funtua was the second Republic Minister of Water Resources in the late presidential Shagari's government and a member of the Constitutional Conference convoked by the late military dictator General Sani Abacha. He was said to be feeling unwell at about 4 p.m. Not wanting to take things for granted, he drove himself to a hospital. He died shortly after. A source said it is difficult to confirm what really happened, but he lost the battle after getting to the hospital. Some said it was cardiac arrest, but only his doctors can confirm what went wrong. As an in-law to President Muhammadu Buhari, the Democrat publishers remains will be buried at 1 p.m. today. Until his death, Funtua was one of the most influential politicians and businessmen in the country. In the early 1980s, he established the Democrat, an all-color newspaper in Kaduna, which became authoritative on political matters. His construction firm became a household after constructing the magnificent office of the head of the civil service of the Federation. Funtua dies after driving himself to hospital. You can get full details from the Nation newspaper. And lastly, Amotekun will use supernatural power to combat security. The commandant of the Ekiti State Security Network, codenamed Amotekun, Brigadier General Joe Komalafe, retired, has said the Corps will use supernatural and modern security techniques to combat banditry, kidnapping, and other crimes. He spoke yesterday at F1LA during a sensitization tour of Ekiti West, F1LA, and Ijero local government. The commandant said the security outfit will use ancient Yoruba tactics of securing territories and fishing out criminals from their hideout. He said neglect of local and ancient patterns of exposing criminals was one of the factors responsible for the rising cases of crime. Amotekun will use supernatural powers to combat insecurity. You can get full details from the Nation newspaper and every other papers that's available this morning. And that'll be all on the newspaper review for this hour. Many thanks for being there. We'll be back again tomorrow on another edition of the program from the newspaper review from Yesma Radio, the first media academy radio in the city of Ibadan. My name is Olatunde Idowu. Very shortly, Shola Yigba Jeje will be here on the program Ere Daraya. Yes, till then, have a beautiful day and stay with us here.
Feel the vibes.
When your music rocks and your station rocks,